different abilities. Like, he's blessed with a God-given ability that he crack you, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna go down. That's his ability.
Yeah.
I'm blessed with God-given eyes. My eyes is amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand how good my eyes is. I can see really good, like punches coming my way.
Now that the bout between Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson is confirmed for November 23rd, the two have faced each other in person to prepare for their enormous spectacle, which fans are eager to see it unfold. Shakur Stevenson has stated that he is aware of the power that Tank Davis possesses, but he will be able to avoid people are blessed with different abilities. For example, the knockout blow on fight night has the ability to crack you 9 times out of 10, which will cause you to go down. I have amazing eyes that many people don't realize are gifted to me. Due to my good vision, I can dodge punches at any time because our abilities are different.
Try to get away from them
Right.
at any given time, and our abilities are just different, so they probably are judging me from a scale of him, but at the end of the day, he's a great fighter. He's a special fighter. I can't take none away from him, but I'm special in my own right too.
People are probably judging me based on how well he performs, but in the end, he's a talented fighter and a special fighter. I can't take anything away from him, but I'm special in my own right too. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and enable the post notification. Ring, you won't ever miss any more films from Combat Sports World when they soundly defeated Frank Martin to win the WBA championship. By doing this, the IBF champion Vasyl Lomachenko withdrew when Davis initiated negotiations with him, stating that he had no desire to compete this year.
Tank, who I think is a brilliant fighter, right? So exciting, very heavy-handed. He loses a lot of rounds, right? He lost rounds against Frank Martin. He lost rounds against Ryan Garcia. He lost rounds against Pitbull Cruz. And these are all guys that aren't on the same level as Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson. So he has to put a dent in these people, otherwise he'll get beat.
Now, let's meet Stevenson, who just made a contentious and unambiguous defense of his WBC title against Art Harod. In an interview with the It's What It Is podcast, Floyd Mayweather, who managed Tank's career for a large portion before a contentious split, named the two fighters as the best in the division for quite different reasons. You have guys fighting between 130, 135, and 160 right now, and the biggest puncher at 135 would probably be Tank Davis. Stevenson has long maintained that Lomachenko and Davis are avoiding him if both parties want to fight.
But he does put a dent in it because he punches really hard, and Tank's not just a puncher, he's got a good boxing IQ as well. I just don't think he's technically, or the IQ is as good as Lomachenko or as good as Shakur Stevenson. But can he put a dent in them? Because I promise you this, if he don't stop these people, he will be behind at nearly every junction of those fights, Lomachenko included. I think he stops Lomachenko.
Theoretically, nothing can stop them from doing it at this time. With some of the most precise and deadly power punches in the sport, Shakur Stevenson is unquestionably the most skilled fighter at 135 pounds. Davis, on the other hand, has defeated all but 2 of his opponents within close quarters despite having a 45% knockout to win ratio. The numbers show that Stevenson has the best defense in the league. When questioned about whether possessing the required skills alone would be enough to defeat opponents, Mayweather responded in the affirmative, saying that talents are what actually matter. Pernell Whitaker wasn't a particularly strong puncher, but he was gritty and exciting, and he battled everyone.
Got to, like, they get a few wins, and they get a little above themselves. They ain't really, like, they come see me, and I give them they get a real check, and they get a real opponent. And I won't even say no real opponent, a real, you know what I mean, the champ. They get the champ.
Shakur is inquiring whether he can fight the best because he wants to accomplish the same thing as everyone else. Since this interview, I think his contract is about to expire, so maybe we can work together and I can help him get to the next level in his fights. The Stevenson team has held discussions with Mayweather and is currently negotiating in Eddie Hearn's Mac Room. Because Davis is associated with PBC, it's possible that he will also look into that matter. Fans have been anticipating this fight for a long time and have expressed a variety of opinions about how it will go down, including if this is real.
But he does put a dent in him because he punches really hard, and Tank's not just a puncher, he's got a good boxing IQ as well. I just don't think he's technically, or the IQ is as good as Lomachenko or as good as Shakur Stevenson. But can he put a dent in them? Because I promise you this, if he don't stop these people, he will be behind at nearly every junction of those fights, Lomachenko included. I think he stops Lomachenko.
Finally, Tank can get this easy W and move on with his career. This will be Tank's easiest fight. Shakur can win, but it has to be a Floyd level of performance because Davis can really time people, especially in the second half of fights. It could be a terrible fight, but if Shakur decides that avoiding strikes is more important than winning, he can win easily. If he doesn't get caught, Tank doesn't have a 93.3% knockout rate for no reason. Able to get back, the promoter Eddie Hearn has also made it known he believes the Grant Davis and Shakur Stevenson fight is going to happen next. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tank Davis versus Shakur Stevenson because situations and circumstances are everything. Hearn told IFO TV Tank's got all his eggs in the basket for a Vasyl Lomachenko fight. And then that falls through, and you're left holding your dawn. At that point, who am I going to fight? Shakur's a free agent, he's ready to do a deal, timings, everything. See, the thing is rank, who I think he's a brilliant fighter, right? So exciting, very heavy-handed, he loses a lot of rounds, right?
Tank, who I think is a brilliant fighter, right? So exciting, very heavy-handed. He loses a lot of rounds, right? He lost rounds against Frank Martin, he lost rounds against Ryan Garcia, he lost rounds against Pitbull Cruz, and these are all guys that aren't on the same level as Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson. So he has to put a dent in these people, otherwise he'll get beat.
He lost rounds against Frank Martin, he lost rounds against Ryan Garcia, he lost rounds against Pitbull Cruz, and these are all guys that aren't on the same level as Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson, so he has to put a dent in these people, otherwise he'll get beat. But he does put a dent in him because he punches really hard, and Tank's not just a puncher, got a good boxing IQ as well. I just don't think he's technically, or the IQ is as good as Lomachenko or as good as Shakur Stevenson, but can he put a dent in them? Because I promise you this, if he don't stop these people, he will be behind in nearly every junction of those fights, Lomachenko included. I think he stops Lomachenko, but he'll be behind Tank. Davis has made it known the prospect of a Shakur Stevenson fight doesn't excite him the most, but he's more than ready to destroy him in the ring if it comes into fruition. I'm saying these guys are they just got to, like, they get a couple, they get a few wins, and they get a little above their self. They ain't really like they come see me and I give them they get a real check, yeah, a real check, and they get a real opponent. And now I won't even say no real opponent or real, you know what I mean, the champ. They get the champ. Before we go any further into the video, what are your guys' honest thoughts on how a fight between Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson would go down? Would Davis's knockout power be too much for Shakur to handle? Or would Shakur Stevenson be able to get a decision win with a defensive masterclass? It has long been a topic of dispute as to who is the best and who would win in those heavyweight classes. Please leave a remark below. In an interview with Cigar Chat, newly crowned heavyweight champion Claire Shields said that Stevenson was the finest. I believe that Shakur is the greatest. He's superior to Tank, Ryan Garcia, and Timo. When it comes to those weight classes, Shakur is my top choice since he is me. I won't ever write off a fighter. I believe Tank has excellent abilities and delivers powerful punches, but Shakur is also very experienced. In my opinion, Shakur has faced more difficult obstacles than Tank. Considering the fighters Shakur faced, their records, and their fighting style, Tank cannot claim to be the best if he defeats Ryan and Romero, who are different from each other. This brings us to the end of today's video. Make sure to subscribe for more videos from Combat Sports World and turn on the post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. People say it only takes one, which is true, but when you're only getting hit 5 or 6 times, I'm just rocking with Shakur for that fight, and he's going to be smart, strong, and fast when he has something to prove. The fans' desire for this fight will determine its outcome, so let's hope for its successful completion and the signing of contracts.